Hello, everyone. Hi. When you come in, say hello. Let me know how you're doing. And if you're watching this on the replay, do a hashtag replay. I'm so freaking excited to be here with all of you. So the first thing I would love to know is where are you watching in from? I'm in LA. We live close to the water, so we have no AC, and it has been so freaking hot. And in the middle of it all, my daughter is moving into her own apartment for college in a month from now. So we are rearranging everything. So I'm going to take over my younger daughter's room, and my younger daughter's going to move into my older daughter's room. So right now I'm live streaming from my family room. We're just making it work over here. So let me know how you're doing. I'm so excited to be here with all of you and share this. Hello. Hi, Mohini. How are you? San Diego. Oh my gosh, how's the weather over there? Let me know. It is just starting to get hot, and I love it until my face starts sweating. So yes, it is toasty, and it is absolutely perfect because I love the sun. Hello, Galaxy 520. I don't know what your name is, but I'm so excited to connect with you. And we're going to, I do not like the classes and the trainings where there's a lot of fluff. So this is going to be potent, going to be direct. I've got some slides for you. I'm going to share with you the EA method, how to become the one, so you can step in the power and get what it is that you want without waiting on anyone or anything. And this is radical responsibility. It's how I show up. Kelly Kennedy, how are you? Hi. It's so good to see you. And I've got some slides for you. So let's go ahead and jump in and get freaking started. Let's go. Okay, so we are going to share my screen and let's do this. Okay, I'm going to try present mode. I know that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So we will see. So let me know if you can see this. Go ahead and nod your head if you can see the slides and you can hear me and all of that's good. Awesome. Okay. So this is about being the one, becoming the one that takes the lead, gets what you want without waiting on anyone else. And I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think this is true until I started applying it and testing it on myself. And now myself and my clients have gotten such amazing results in our relationships and our life. It's fucking mind blowing. So I'm so excited to share this with you. So I want to first qualify you. I want to make sure that you are in the right space. And if you're not, that is absolutely okay. You can jump off. But this is for you if you're ready to call in the one, whether that is your current partner or the relationship that you desire, wherever you are. If you are wanting to call in the one, the relationship, you're already in a relationship and you want that relationship to be more passionate, more intimate, more connected. If you want the $1 million relationship and you're in it, or if you want to call in a partner, this is for you. If you're an ambitious and driven individual who is all about the power of leadership, right? And you're here to lead yourself. You're excited and ready to embark on a transformational journey to become the one, the intentional creator of your reality. I know that I've been in situations before where I just wanted the magic bullet. I just wanted the solution. I was like, okay, just tell me what it is. Let me know what it is so then I can just fix it. I want someone else to do the work for me. If that is you, this is not the right space. This is the space for ambitious that are ready to do the work, that want to do the work, that want to show up, and they want it the quickest way possible. And this is for you if you have experienced heartbreak in the but now you're determined to create a marriage or a long-term relationship that's passion, deep connection, and the alignment that you want to share. Okay. So let me know, is this you? Let me know in the chat real quick if this is you, if you're in the right room. Hi, Savvy. Hello, everyone. So let me know if this is you, because you know what? It's so important to self-qualify. So I would love to know right now, where are you in the relationship phase? Are you currently in a relationship? Are you, is it complicated right now for you? Are you single but looking for a relationship? Are you divorced? Let me know where you are in the spectrum of your relationship. And if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and share along as well. Show up, ask the questions, participate in the comments, because one thing I've learned working with over 50 coaches in the last 9 years, 8 years of my coaching journey is when we come in with a beginner's mind, even if we've heard the information before, even if we've heard it a million times, when we come in with a beginner's mind, we're able to absorb the things that we may not have before. I know a lot of the times in the trainings that I've attended, because I've done almost every training on the freaking planet, a lot of the times when I knew a concept or I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard of that before, I would tune out. I check my phone, I do something else. But it was interesting. Tony Robbins said the top successful people, the one percenters, when they hear something they've heard before, instead of tuning out, they get more curious because they know that there could be a breakthrough. There could be something that pops for them, a different paradigm, a story, a shift for them to have a breakthrough and embody the information deeper. So let me know. Number one, where are you in the relationship phase? And number two, are you all in and are you coming in with a beginner's mind? Because otherwise, there's no really point to be here. Real talk. Okay, so let's freaking do this. I'm ready to get in and do this with you. So as you have perspectives, as you have shifts, as you have questions, you can go ahead and put it all in the chat. And then at the end, I can answer any of the questions. I want to have this flow. I want to get through all of the content that I want to share with you. And then I will go back and answer any questions that you have, be able to read the comments then. So I would love to know, what is the one thing you would love to receive from this training? Why are you here? A lot of the times, it may feel interesting to us or we're not sure, or we're just checking it out. But when we set an intention of what we want from the experience that we're stepping into, it becomes so powerful. And before we go, read through the chat and make sure that I'm able to deliver that to you so you're able to get what it is that you want out of it. But I'm not going to be able to help you unless you let me know what that one thing is. So while you share that, I will be looking at the chat for this to make sure that I'm able to address all of that. Okay, awesome. So in a relationship, love it. Yes, married 14 years, together 22, love it. Joyfully liberated, aka divorced. I fucking love that saying. Joyfully liberated. Amen. Amen. Single, desiring, desperate. Oh, I love that too. Desire, desperate is such an incredible fucking vibe. And that is this beautiful unattachment that we have, that we're not tethered to anything. There's no desperation. And so that makes it so much more powerful in calling in the one. That's me, longer but more solid path. I love it. All in. Insight in how I can apply it. I love it. I want to learn how to effectively move through my emotions. Love it. Okay, cool. Let's do this. So with the intention that you set, whether you shared it or not, whether you have it in your mind, here's the thing. If you've worked with me before, you'll know, and you can testify to this, that I am all about radical responsibility. I'm all about calling it out with love, but I'm not the cheerleader. I'm the one that's like, who do you need to be to get what you want? Who do you need to? A lot of the times we're like, I want this, and we have the expectations on side of ourselves to happen, our partner or situation to happen, right? But who do you need to be to get what you want? And when we take this responsibility, and instead of blaming everyone else for the situation that we're in, space that we like, it's so much easier to point the blame at other people. I did it for 29 years of my life. It was so much easier to blame. And we learn this as children, to blame other people, to not take the responsibility, because if we do, we'll get in trouble. If we do, we'll experience shame. So we were taught, if I got in trouble, I blame my brothers. And when we point our fingers at other people, right? You've got this pointer finger, you're pointing at yourself. So when we take radical responsibility, it can be triggering. It can be scary. But the thing is that is the moment we take our power back, because when we take radical responsibility, we have the power to change. So I'd love to know, who do you get to be to get what it is that you. So for me, I'm going to share a little bit about my story. I'm going to keep it simple and sweet for those who may not know. I had it all. In my 20s, I was a timeline type of girl. Let me know if you're the same way. It was like, okay, I graduated early from college. I got the dream job at 21. I had apartments. I bought a home before I got married. And at 25, I was like, okay, it's now time to get married. Got to get married at 26, married, good Indian boy. I have a secure job, a huge home that we custom built together, a daughter, a living nanny, financial freedom. And 29, I checked everything off the box. And then I paused and I was like, wait a second. How come I don't feel fulfilled? How come I don't feel happy? I did all the things that a good girl is supposed to do, and I had it all. There's nothing left on this list except for baby number two. And that was the moment that I realized that I was chasing mine. So through all of that, I chose marriage. My husband didn't cheat on me. He didn't beat me. There's no physical abuse. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone thought I was crazy. And this happened 16, 16 years ago, over 16 years ago. In community, this was not something that was common. Everyone thought that I was crazy. My family did not have the reaction that I was hoping that they would have. My dad tried to convince me to stay. It was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. And at that time, my ex-husband made a lot more money than I did. I walked away. I didn't ask for child support or alimony or anything. I just wanted to get away because I realized that if I wanted my daughter to live this life, if I wanted her to go after her dreams, if I wanted her to have an amazing relationship, to be fulfilled in her purpose and to be able to go after her dreams, I had the same thing. So I left it all. It was fucking terrifying. It was so liberating at the same time. I felt like Moana. Have you guys seen the movie Moana? Let me know. And I also felt like Frozen. Those moments where it's, oh my gosh, I'm free. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm terrified because I don't know what the future is going to hold. I don't know. I was told I was damaged goods, that I wouldn't find anyone else, that no one would marry me because I was divorced, and especially with a child. But it was like, oh my gosh, I get to figure out who I am. I get to figure out what I want. I get to create something new instead of staying in something that felt like Groundhog's Day every day, that felt like it was slowly killing my soul day after day after day. So let me know. Have you been in that situation where you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? I feel like this isn't right. I feel like there's something more for me. I feel like, I kept myself so busy with either working or self-sabotage, drinking, shopping, watching TV. So my mind wouldn't wander. But at nighttime, it was fucking terrifying because I would have nothing but me and my thoughts. And I would be worried about, oh my, is this going to be the life? Am I going to be stuck in this thing in common? Is this how my life is going to be for the next 50, 60 years? And I finally had an awakening moment where it was like, I'm not available for this. I want something where even if it costs me being alone for the rest of my life, I cannot sit and do this and show my daughter. And with all with all integrity, tell her to go after something when I was miserable. So let me know. Does any of this resonate with you? Have you been in this situation? Are you in this situation now? Are you getting out of a situation like this? And in my culture, my community with my parents, one of the hardest things was I was the one that had the best marriage out of everyone. My parents have a very emotional and physically abusive marriage that I saw from as long as I could remember. So many times I felt shame and guilt because I'm like, I should be happy. My husband doesn't beat me. He doesn't cheat on me. We don't have huge fights. The cops aren't being called on the regular because of the neighbor complaints, because of that we have. He's not breaking all the dishes in the houses. I'm not crying all the time. So there's a big part of me that experienced so much guilt and shame because it was like, wait, I have it so much better than my parents did. Why isn't that enough? And so when I was actually thinking about getting divorced, and I found out I was pregnant. And so I felt like and that was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And when my daughter was right before she turned one, I had a pivotal moment, and it was like, hold on, I need to leave because of her. So I stayed because of her. And then I ended up leaving because of her. And it was the most scary and bravest thing that I could have done. And I'm so glad that I did it because while there, I had a foreclosure shortly after. I had depression. I had all of these things that happened. It led me to where I was meant to be. So I was diagnosed with depression. I had a foreclosure soon after. And there's a point in my journey where I was like, maybe it's easier to go back. Maybe it's easier for me just to feel safe and have that security, somebody that I know would be there for me and my daughter, be able to have the financial security. But I'm glad that I didn't, because it was all worth it, because I manifested my soulmate shortly after. And a fun fact, I dated my second husband before I got married to my first husband. And my second husband, when I got divorced, he was the rebound guy and I was his rebound. We actually had a conversation about it. And because I wanted to get married right away, I love being married. I love being in connection and communion with someone. I just married the wrong person. And I was about to get onto all sites, and my girlfriends are like, no, you're crazy. You need to get this all out of your system. You don't need to go on eHarmony right away. You've got to date and have fun. But I was the type of person that wouldn't go to bars and clubs and just hook up with people. So Michael, I've known him since college. He actually had a class with my boyfriend, ex-husband now, and he was getting out of his relationship. So we literally had a conversation about it. We've always stayed very close after we were dating. We worked together, and he was like, hell yeah. So he was a rebound guy for a while. That's a whole story for another situation, another time. But we broke up shortly after, and I was like, I'm ready to meet the one. And I met someone, and Michael always stayed around, and he was my one. But he didn't fit into the timeline. He didn't check all the boxes. He literally was the player. He lived on Sunset Boulevard in West LA. He literally lived on Sunset Boulevard. He was clubbing. He was a single guy. He was a player. I knew way too much about him. So he was great for single and good for the single mom version of my life. And story short, he was absolutely fantastic with my daughter. And we got married, and we lived happily ever after. It was incredible. Bullshit. So many times with the Disney movies, have you seen those fairy tales where it's like, oh, the Prince Charming rescues Sleeping Beauty and gives her a kiss, and then they walk away, and you see them riding off on a horse in the sunset, and it's like they lived happily ever after. I thought that I was getting my happily ever after. I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I just married the wrong person. But little did I know that was only the beginning. Manifesting my soulmate was only the beginning. And that's when it got really hard. I didn't realize that there was so much more there. I thought, okay, you know what? We get along. Everything's great. The honeymoon period was fucking fantastic. And then I bought into society to settle for mediocrity, that passion fades over time, that the happily ever after exists, to be grateful for what it is that we have. And especially being a woman in a traditional culture, in the Indian culture, and my family's very traditional, it was like, no, just be grateful. Settle for what you have. You shouldn't ask for more. You should like this should be enough. But it never felt like enough to me. So like, what have you heard from society? Especially the passion phase over time was a huge one for me. My friends said that. Social media said that. My community said that, you know what, after a while, the Zaza Zoo goes away. But I wasn't available for that. I was like, I don't want it to go away. I don't to instead just have a deep friendship. I wanted the intimacy. I wanted the sparks. I wanted the Zaza Zoo. And as it started diminishing, I started questioning our marriage. And it felt like it was turning into a jail cell. So let me know if you're like that in a relationship where it's like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's a jail cell. It feels like, oh my gosh, I felt trapped. And I felt like, oh my God, is this it? And I was like, maybe I'm not the marrying type. Maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe I'm just that person that is better to be alone. Right. So I had all of these questions and doubts in my mind because I just thought I married the wrong person. But then I started falling into, I felt like, wait a second, I did all the right things. I did the courageous thing. I left my marriage. I was diagnosed with depression. I had a foreclosure. I manifested my soulmate. I thought that that was it. I married the wrong person. But I realized that I started having the same problems in my second marriage as I had in my first. Has that ever happened to you? We were like, okay, I'm getting out of this situation. And I started realizing it was happening in different areas of my life. I was in corporate America for 16 years and I continued to manifest the same boss with a different face. I was manifesting the same relationships, different face. And in the beginning, it was wonderful and great. But then as my marriage started to have the same patterns of the past was happening, the frustration, the resentment, the arguing, the toxic patterns, the yelling, the screaming was happening again. And I started realizing that the unconscious manipulation that was happening, it was rampant, where I would say things, he would say things to manipulate each other, to guilt trip. The lack of intimacy started happening a few years after we were married. It was like, you know what, I'm tired. I have my period. Like, it was just like, there was no connection there. It was a tit for tat energy to be like, okay, you know, I did the dishes, so you need to do that. I took the kids to the park, so you need to do that. It felt like we were passing through the night. There's passive aggressiveness because I didn't feel fulfilled. He wasn't feeling fulfilled. So we would have like these little jabs at each other and I would keep it within, you know, I'd keep it and not saying anything because I didn't want to start a fight. I didn't want to go back into my pattern. All of a sudden, one thing would happen and I'd fucking explode. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Have you felt like that before? And then he's like, why are you getting so pissed off on this one thing? But it was never that one thing. It was a buildup of so many different things. There was issues. And when I felt that way, when I was passive, I withhold love and affection, which is his number one thing. He loved love and affection. So what would I do? I withhold that on purpose so I could hurt him as much as he hurt me. And there's just more and more disconnection. We started growing apart. We would have arguments all. Do you resonate with you're coming across? What is the thing that you're seeing in your life and for past relationships? What is coming up for you? And the thing is it doesn't matter if we're in a new relationship. I have friends that are divorced. I have friends that are out of relationships and they're like, oh no, I'm going to find the right one. And they're finding the right one. They're dating people and they're like, hold on a second. Why is the same thing happening again? It's not the person. It's about us becoming the one. It's about us healing and doing that work so we can change. We can grow, we can heal, and we can start changing our patterns through a place of healing, from a place of using tools and methods to do the work so that we are not bleeding past wounds on our current relationships. And I realized I was doing that. A lot of the issues that I had in the past with my sexual trauma, with my parents, with my father, my uncle, with my past relationships, with childhood stuff was coming into my marriage. And I didn't even realize it until I started doing this work. So let me know what patterns that you're starting to notice or you maybe have noticed before. And here's the thing. So many times we don't realize that we're carrying our past baggage into our future relationships. We don't realize it. We're not taught this. Society doesn't tell us this, but we're doing it. If we don't actively heal, if we're not doing the regular work of healing, I still use the tools every single damn day because my husband triggers me. My daughters trigger me. My daughters probably trigger me now more than my husband because they love calling me out. And you'll probably hear my daughter storm out of her bedroom in like any second now because it's probably time for her to wake up. Um, and my business triggers me. Social media triggers me. Comparison comes up. Jealousy comes up. There's so many things that can trigger me. A lot of the times, most of the times, it's not the thing, that person that's triggering us. It's triggering something from the past. So what I love sharing and what I say to my clients all the time is imagine. So like take a moment and close your eyes. And I want you to imagine. Just go ahead and take a deep breath with me. Roll your shoulders back. Let's just take a moment to get into our bodies. Move your head back and forth. And I want you just to imagine and picture a juicy lemon. And as you cut open this lemon, you can feel the juices. You can smell the beautiful smell of a lemon, and it's invigorating and it smells so fresh. You can smell the citrusness. Feel the juice from the lemon on your fingers, and it feels cooling and it feels a little sticky. And now I want you to imagine that you take that lemon and you squeeze it on an open cut that you have in your arm. And how does that feel? Does it sting? And imagine after you put salt on it as well. That is going to sting, right? That is an open wound that you're. And now I want you to imagine that you're taking the other half of the lemon and you're squeezing it on your other arm with nothing. There's no cuts. There's no open wounds. And how does that feel? The lemon on your arm, and how does it feel different? Now you're putting salt on it. How does this arm feel? Now go ahead and open your eyes and come back and share in the comments. When we put lemon and salt on an open wound, it is going to sting. It is going to burn. It's going to be painful, right? We don't want to do that. My daughter is on a soccer team, and one of the girls was a goalie, and she went for the goal. She went to save the goal. She saved the goal, all cut up. And we have a physical therapist that's one of the parents. He ran out there, he carried her off the field. She was crying, and then he put rubbing alcohol, the biotin or whatever it is, and she screamed, right? Because it's an open wound. But when we put it on, if we have that same lemon and the salt or the rubbing alcohol, and we put it on our arm that has nothing on it, we're gonna feel a sensation, but it's not gonna stay. It's gonna be painful. It's the same thing with our patterns and our wounds. If my husband says something, a word that used to trigger me was when he would say, chill out. When I was saying something, when I was getting upset about things, when I was like, starting to rage and get angry, and like I took on a lot of patterns of my father, he would look at me, he'd be like, just chill out. And when he said chill out, I would see red. Right. And one time I actually like went and I shoved him, and I'm like, get out of my way, get out of my face. And it wasn't because he said chill out. It was because he tapped into a past wound that I never healed around those words and what those words represented to me. Does that make sense? Let me know how that's landing. So the point being is, with this lemon and the salt, when we have healed our wounds, it's not going to impact us the same way. We may feel it, we'll feel the sensation, but it's not going to burn. It's not going to sting. It's not going to trigger us. So the more that we're able to, I'm going to share the framework in a few minutes. The more that we're able to use a method like the EA method, we're able to, instead of responding from that hurt, from that stinging, from that pain, from our old wounds, we're able to respond from our long-term vision and our desires of what we want from our relationship. And that is how we show up differently. So let me So I want to talk about, this is called the distance effect. And let me know if you've heard of this before. This is also the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And we've probably heard of this in storytelling or different things, but here's the basis of it. Our actions impact others' beliefs, and that other people's actions, which reinforces our beliefs, which influence our action, right? And so a great little story of this is, I remember when I was in corporate America, I had a lot of issues, a lot of father issues. And one of my bosses was so triggered to me. And when he sent me a meeting invite, and as soon as he sent me the meeting invite, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's the worst case scenario, right? So the action, because I did this, and because I was so triggered by it, it was like, oh my gosh, I went home early. I got sick. I had a migraine. I went home early. And I was like trying to postpone this meeting. It ended up being, he wanted to give me a raise. But because I was in this pattern of like, oh my gosh, anytime somebody needs a meeting with me anytime, a client would want to have a meeting with me anytime, and that's out of the ordinary, I would think of the worst case scenario. And if we think about that all the time, and we think that we're not good enough, if we think that there's a target on our back, if we think that nothing ever goes right, that is going to impact our actions. So I started realizing, and as I started doing this deeper personal development, I started going back in different areas of my life, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. I never really gave it my all because I didn't think I was good enough to be able to get that raise, to be able to get that promotion, to be able to do. So I didn't show up. So I didn't take the action required to the work. I didn't go over and beyond because I wasn't going to get it anyways. So my actions impacted my boss's beliefs of like, oh, okay, well, no, she's not ready. And as that impacts that our actions, and as that happens, that impacts their actions, and it reinforces our belief to be like, oh, I was looked over anyways. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. And that influences our actions. So it's this never ending vicious cycle that we have. So let me know how this is landing, right? If we think that this is our reality, if we think, oh my gosh, bringing it back to relationships and marriage, that, what, marriage isn't easy, passion fades over time. The honeymoon phase always ends. After a while, the intimacy goes away. You know what? It's like our marriage is always tit for tat and oil and vinegar is what I would say. I would say that my ex-husband and I were like an old married couple. Well, when we have that belief, it impacts our actions. And that action impacts others' beliefs, right? So if I'm not showing up in my marriage because I'm like, well, it's not going to get better anyways, he's not going to change anyways, then he's getting that message, okay, well, that's what it is. And then he starts acting in accordance, and that reinforces my belief that is important, the belief that influences my action. Is so powerful because what we get to do is start seeing, or asking ourselves, like, where's it showing up in your relationships? Where's it showing up in your current relationship or past relationship? Let me know. Okay. So your inner reality creates your outer reality, right? And we may have heard this before. So a lot of times they're like affirmations that I'm a millionaire, or I have it all, or I'm the luckiest person in the world. We start saying those things, but if we don't believe it, or if we have other thoughts or experiences that show us differently, no affirmation is going to work. It's like, I'm a very visual person. I love using this example, so my clients will laugh, and they know what I'm talking about. It's like taking a big old nasty shit in the toilet, like stinky, disgusting, nasty ass shit. And those are our worst beliefs that we have about ourselves, about the world, about our relationships, about what we can't have, what we can have, right? The worst things. And the affirmations is just spraying potpourri on that shit. It's still shit. It's still going to stink. And now it may just have like this floral odor on top of it. It ain't doing nothing. What we get to do instead is flush the toilet. And then we can put potpourri on it, right? We got to get rid of, we've got to uncover and pull up all of those weeds of those belief systems, of the culture, of all the things that have happened, that have been ingrained in us to have us the things that we don't want, right? We get to start seeing the places in our life, in our relationship, when we don't have what it is that we want. It's because of a belief system that we have. It's because of experiences that we have. It's because of past wounds that we have. And if we don't do that, it's going to continue to create our outer reality. So no amount of affirmations will work. So with that, let's get into the EA method. So the EA method came about years ago when I had another argument with my husband, and I threw out the D word, the divorce word. And I was like, what am I doing? There was just like this moment of enlightenment to be like, holy shit, I am trying to manipulate him and get him to change by threatening him. And in that moment, I knew that in my last marriage, I wasn't connected to him. I knew that I didn't feel like he was my soulmate, but in this marriage, it was like, oh my gosh, like if I don't do everything possible to save this marriage, I will have regret forever. And so in that moment, I took my power back. In that moment, I was like, I don't give a shit if I'm doing the therapy, doing personal development, getting certifications, doing all these trainings and bettering myself, and him not do anything. I was so resentful because I'm like, I'm doing the work and he's not showing up. So I tried to convince him to go to therapy. I was trying to convince him. I would give him a guilt trip to be like, I'm doing all this work. What are you doing? And I noticed as I was saying those things, I had so much work to do because I had so much resentment and so much guilt, and I was manipulating him. So even though I was doing years of therapy, I realized it wasn't working for me. So that was my first wake up call. My second wake up call was I was actually right outside these doors in my front yard with my daughter, who was 5 at the time. So about 6 years ago. And she was making me this soup out of the succulents and branches and dirt, and it was just so sweet. And we're just playing in the front yard. And she looks up at me and she's like, Mama, can I tell you something? I'm like, sure. She's like, I get scared when you and Daddy fight. And um, in that moment was like, those that bringing to your knees moment to be like, oh my God, I thought I was protecting them. I thought I was doing an amazing job because the percentage of the way that my husband and I fought was 1% of what I saw growing up. I saw violence. I saw the dishes being broken. I saw so many things. Like, it was terrifying. And my husband and I, but then I realized that just because we weren't fighting the way my parents did doesn't mean that she still wasn't scared. And that was the moment that I decided that I don't give a flying rat's ass what my husband does. I'm taking radical responsibility for every single thing in our relationship. I'm taking radical responsibility, and I will be the leader of where I want our marriage to go. Because real talk, my husband was pretty satisfied. He's much more satisfied now because I've done a lot of healing around sex and intimacy and everything. But he wasn't talking about a divorce. It was me being triggered. It was me feeling like it's not enough. It was me wanting more out of it. And I was trying to get him to do the work to make it better for me. But instead, I was like, you know what? I'm taking full fucking responsibility. I will be the leader of our marriage, and I'm still the leader of our marriage today. Even though we have $1 million marriage, I want to have $1 billion. And so I drive the front seat, and I'm okay with it. It feels so fucking powerful because we have revolutionized our marriage without him going to therapy for one day. So in that process, I started looking at the 5 certifications that I had. I was looking at the 16 years of personal development I did at Toyota headquarters. I was looking at all the books and the research and the therapy that I've done. And I was like, I need to know, because in therapy, it was great. We would talk about the problems and the fights that we had from the week before. But I realized that moment that I was triggered when we were fighting, all rationale went away and we go back into past patterns. So while therapy was great, it wasn't helping me the way that I wanted it. I wanted to stop. I wanted to change. I wanted something different. I didn't want to process it and then have to go back and apologize, and tell my husband, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that I did stop before it started. So I started looking at things, and everything was just like, the somatics work was kind of powerful. The nervous system regulation, that was great, but it didn't help the feelings that I had. It didn't help me from stopping triggered. It was like, okay, that's fine. Like, I can get regulated my nervous system, but now what? I don't want to have to feel like I'm regulating my nervous system all the time. And that's what I felt like I was doing. So in that time, I remember I was sitting on the backside of my house on the deck, and I was like, I am ready to get this. I'm ready to figure this out. I want to have a method, a framework, and simple tools that I can use the moment that I'm triggered, the moment that I'm realizing that I'm not in that alignment that I desire, to get back into my power, not by bypassing or nervous system regulation. I want to heal it and work through it. And that is how the EA method was developed. So the framework is ACE. Okay, so this is the framework for EA. Number 1 is awareness. Okay, this is everything. It is about being aware of our body, being aware of our emotions, being aware of what is happening. Have that awareness going, oh my God, my husband said something that is really triggering to me. Instead of my immediate reaction, it's like, I call it the Matrix moment. Have you guys watched the Matrix movie? I haven't watched it in a long time, but I want to watch it again. When Keanu Reeves stops time and he's like moving around the bullet, right? So the bullet doesn't kill him, right? So he's like literally doing all the spending, and that's where we time bend. We like stop time. The awareness is when we get to stop time. So before something happens and my instant response, there's a pause, there's that awareness. And when we have that awareness, we get to celebrate. I had so many clients, the clients that I work with, they would say in the past, oh my gosh, you know what? All of a sudden I got triggered again. Oh, it made me frustrated, because so many times it's like, oh my gosh, I got triggered. I don't want to get triggered. And I tell them, no, you get to celebrate the fuck out of that. You get to celebrate getting triggered because you are aware of it. And that is always the first step. Because if we're not aware, we can't. We have no choice. We have no consciousness. It just happens. So it's about being aware and then celebrating yourself instead of beating ourselves up. We've got this image of perfection and we want to never feel triggered again. I remember in the beginning of my personal development journey, I'm like, what is something that I can fuck do I need to work with so I never feel triggered again, so I never feel scarcity again, so I never feel this way again? I'm gonna get rid of it. Truth is we're here to feel all these emotions. We're here to feel it all, the highs, the lows, the abundance, the frustration, the peace, the sadness, the joy. We're here to feel it all. We're feeling people. It's a beautiful gift. But what happens in a lot of times is as we're feeling it, as a child, if you look at a child, like let's say, 1 to 3 years old. I just had my nephew stay with us for a week and he's all over the place. He's like a little madman. He's crying in 1 second, laughing in another second, screaming in another moment. There's no answer. They just get to be and they get to just express themselves. But as we get older, we start hearing from society, from parents, oh no, can't do that. Nope, you're on the timeout chair. No, why? My father would tell me all the time after he had a huge fight with my mom, don't get emotional. People will not take you seriously. Do never show your emotions. And I saw my mom crying and bawling. She didn't get what she wanted. So what did I do? Shut that all down. And I made an unconscious choice that I didn't even realize. When I was very young, I'm like, I'm never going to be like my mom. I'm not going to be the one that I saw her as a victim crying, really upset. I'm like, I'm not going to be her. So I unconsciously took the role of my father. And I was the one that would yell, that would scream, that would walk away, that was not invested, that would leave the relationship in 2 seconds. Forget about a red flag. If there was a freaking yellow flag, I was out because I was just like, I'm not going to put up with shit. But what happened was I missed intimacy. I missed connection. I miss having that deep, meaningful thing that comes with emotion, right? But a lot of the times we're not even allowed to express. And so many things come from our childhood, our patterns, the things that we're conditioned into, the belief system that we're born into. So instead of beating ourselves up or having shame for expressing or feeling triggered, we get to celebrate it. Instead of feeling shame that we're not feeling joy and we're not feeling magnetizing, it's like, no, we just get to have that awareness, and that is so fucking powerful. So when we have that awareness, we celebrate instead of shame ourselves, and then we use an emotional mastery tool. That's it. That's the framework. Call over. No, I'm kidding. Right? It gets to be simple because you know what? I've worked with so many coaches. I've worked with a coach that made $70 million and worked with 50 coaches now. Right? And they're like, okay, you know what? Just go ahead and spend the whole day and feel it. Feel your emotions. Wrap yourself up in a blanket and just feel all day, or go in the bathroom and cry. And I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. And great, what is that going to do? Like, I don't want to do that. Others are saying, okay, you know what? You're like, go ahead and like journal and do all of these things. And it just wasn't effective to me. Go ahead and go to therapy and talk about it after the fact. For me, it was like, no, I wanted tools that I could use in the moment that would take only a few minutes, where I could quickly process things. So I'm not going back into my past every fucking week for an hour and talking about what happened when I was 6 years old, right? Been there, done that, bought the fucking t-shirt. It wasn't helping. It was great that I had awareness around it, but it wasn't changing my life. So what I started doing was getting to work. I started creating tools that would work for me in those moments that would only take minutes instead of hours, days, weeks, years. And so would you like to know, would you like to see the tools that we use in the EA method? Let me know. Go ahead and say a yes if you're interested. And then hold on, let me look at the thing. Yes, okay, cool. So hold on a second. Hold on. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to show you. You may have seen this on my social media. And again, I will look at the comments in just once we're done. You're doing pretty good on time. Okay, so this is the EA method. Okay, see if I can make it bigger. Can you guys see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, awesome. So what makes it different? It's about being rapid. It's about processing trauma without getting re-traumatized, because who the fuck wants to get re-traumatized? I don't. I don't. That's not my type of kink. I've got other kinks, but that's not one of them. And as you use these 8 tools that is in the method, the intensity of the triggers are reduced. So then you can trust yourself. You can confidently take action with excitement. You can be in alignment with your values instead of fear, scarcity, or lack. And when you have this, the sky is the limit, right? So now when my husband says, chill out, no response. When he says, okay, I'm going to go have a boys' weekend, no response. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's not triggering that thing in me to be like, oh my gosh, hold on a second. He's going to go do this. What's going to happen? Right? I used to be a raging jealous person. I was a wounded Scorpio for most of my life. Right. And I was like, you know what? A lot of that tit for tat energy. Right. So the things that happened, my kids, it was funny. I was on EA call and I was telling them that I was actually sitting right here. We actually replaced our chair, but I was sitting in this chair and I'm looking at my sectional. And we had my brother, my sister-in-law, my kids, my husband, and my mom here. And we're all talking, and I'm sitting in the chair. I'm sitting, I guess, was in a certain way. And my older daughter's like, Mom, you've got a double chin. And I was so self-conscious of the way that I looked for a very long time, very self-conscious for my entire life. I was born in the suburb of Pennsylvania. I was one of 2 Indian kids in the whole school. I was made fun of. I was bullied. I had all of these things going on. And so I was always very self-conscious. And whenever anyone would say anything about my looks, it was like, trigger. This time, when she talked about my double chin, I'm like, what are you talking about? I got a triple chin, right? And we just started freaking laughing about it, right? And I'm just walking around going, hey guys, what's up? What's going on? And they're like, don't do that. I'm like, what? Am I bothering you? And it was so fucking funny. It was hysterical. And we're like laughing, like water down my cheeks, laughing and cracking up, where just 2 years ago for my daughter's 16th birthday, we went to Cheesecake Factory and they made a similar comment to me. And I was like, so I shut down. I was upset. I went to the bathroom. I came back and I was like, I just got silent. I put a wall up of protection, right? And I almost ruined the night until I had, boom, the awareness, right? So again, that framework. And I'm like, hold on a second. I'm not going to let this and my past fuck up the time that I'm having with my kids. So I went to the bathroom again. I used the energy expansion tool. I came back and I was able to salvage the day. But just last month, if that happened, I would have got up from my chair. If I didn't have these emotional mastery tools, I would have went downstairs, sat in my bedroom, been pissed off, and one of my family members would have to come and get me and convince me to come back up and participate. And if I chose to do it, I would have just sat there and been pissed the whole time. And how does that change the environment of everyone else? Completely fucks it up. It completely fucks up the vibe. If someone is upset and crying and walks away, it's just like, okay, what the fuck happened? And it just like steals the moment, right? And I was taking up all of the space when I didn't even want to take up the space, but I was so hurt and triggered, I didn't know what else to do. So that to show you the change that can happen within ourselves. And so I took something that could be potentially triggering and ruining the whole night to something that was so hilarious and opened up more vulnerable conversations. And then my daughter were talking about their facial hair and all of these things, and it turned into a beautiful, opening, vulnerable conversation instead of being triggered and walking away. Does that resonate? Does that land? Okay. So what makes it different? It's about doing it rapidly, not being traumatized around it. It's a toolkit of 8 simple tools that I develop, but to deepen your emotional mastery by healing past wounds, triggers without re-traumatization, rapidly process fear-based emotions, access our inner guru, and get into the vortex of our desires. And so when I created it for myself, it was so amazing and so fucking powerful. And I started seeing shifts in my life. It was happening. I started using it a lot more during when the world shut down and COVID happened. And all of a sudden I had my husband and my kids at home full time and trying to run a business and homeschool and do all the things. Then I started using it with my one-on-one clients. And their results were so incredible. One of my clients had constant anxiety that she got medication for. She got off her anxiety medication. She was saying one session that we did where I used a butterfly more effective than 5 months of therapy. And that's when they started saying, I want to learn this. I want to do this for myself and my clients. And I created a certification program around it. And now in all of my programs and containers, I use the different tools in the EA method in every program that I use. And I use it every day of my life. So going on to the tools, the first tool is the future mapping tool, right? And this is about creating a larger than life, juicy as fuck manifesto to elevate your higher self, to elevate to this higher self, to this version of you that you desire instead of living from your fears and blocks, right? And this is so powerful because many times we're not asked growing up what is the vision for our life. You know, corporate America, we created a vision for our company, put a mission. We don't create that for our marriage. We don't create that for our life. We don't create that for our goals, right? So when you create this, it gets you into that motivation. And the way that we do it is so powerful that it activates you. So when you have that, you have this light, you have this North Star of where you want to go. And as you see that and you read it, you know, and you listen to it, because you'll do a custom audio around it, then you're rewiring your mind. You're focusing in on what you want instead of what you don't have. And our reticular activating system in our mind will always generate the things that we're thinking about. So when we're thinking about our vision and our desires and goals, it's all of the other things to create that, right? So that's where our mind manifestation comes in. The second tool is a fear release tool. And I use this, my clients use this. They didn't like it in the beginning, but now they use it all the time. And this is whenever you experience fear, worries, doubts, anything happens, you're able to use this tool to rapidly process through it and able to clear instead of, you know, sitting and calling your friends and venting about what the hell's going on or repressing it or trying to get into the vortex of your desires. You're able to process it within minutes. So it is out of your system. And this process uses EFT and it literally releases it from your body. It is really powerful. And we do it in a way that blends in shadow work too. The third tool in the EA method is the energy expansion tool. And this was so critical for me to use when it was my daughter's 16th birthday and it was in Arizona. My ex-husband had a party for her and I hadn't seen my ex-husband or my ex-husband's family in like 15 years, some of them in 20 years. And so I was already anxious in going. It was just me and my family and then, you know, 75 people of his side. And when they did this, and everything was going great. It was wonderful. I was connecting with everyone. It was a beautiful event. And then they did the slideshow. And when they did the slideshow, they had all these pictures, and it was so beautiful. My daughter, and she was a baby. And then it was pictures of her and my husband, and then his girlfriend, which my daughter did not get along with. And the girlfriend didn't like my daughter. The girlfriend actually put my daughter's contact name as invisible, right? So there's a going on those photos. And my daughter has been living with me 100% of the time for the last 5-6 years and 90% of the time before that. And I wasn't even included in any one of them. So my natural reaction is I'm a Scorpio. I was about to light shit up. I was about to like go over there and like rage on my ex-husband. In that moment, instead, I went to the bathroom. I used the energy expansion tool and I came out and no one knew anything was wrong. So this tool is amazing when you're feeling anxious. I used to have social anxiety and it was really bad. So whenever I did that, whenever I did a live stream, whenever I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling an emotion that I don't want, you can literally move through it and process it and step into a different vibration. It's fucking amazing. The clarity activation tool. This is a really powerful one when you are stuck and you don't know what to do and you want to make a decision and you're not sure. For me, I didn't trust myself for a very long time. I lost so much trust in myself. So I would trust my coaches, mentors, my family, my husband, friends, everyone over myself. And as I started using this clarity activation tool, it's like I go to myself first. I'm able to get the guidance and be able to make a decision with confidence and trust, um, instead of waiting on anyone else or trying to ask someone else, because no one knows us better than ourselves. The butterfly tool is another favorite one where a lot of my clients didn't like this in the beginning, and now it's one of their go-tos. And this is about the trauma that we've experienced, the triggers of the past, and being able to heal it without re-traumatization in a very simple way that's like less than 10 minutes. It is so fucking effective. And my clients and I have had huge milestones from it. This is the tool that I use when something triggers me and I'm like, it's not like chill out comment or my kids making fun of me. Or my daughter who's getting an apartment and she has this incredible life and she has all that I never had, right? So I'll use a butterfly tool on these things because I know that it's not about that, it's something deeper, right? And so as I use them, I'm able to clear them. So I'm not living and acting and waiting from those triggers. It's fucking amazing. The pattern intercept tool is a really powerful one when you start realizing. For me, I had some issues with eating, right? It was like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out, I'm going to go eat. I feel this emotion, I'm going to go eat, right? And so as we start realizing that the patterns that are not getting us what it is that we want, because it was conflicting against the values that I had for my body. So as I've used the pattern intercept tool in my body, I'm the lowest weight that I've ever been pre-baby, like 12 years ago. I have more energy than ever before. I'm 45 and I feel fucking amazing. I feel confident. I feel sexy and it's incredible. And it's using the pattern intercept tool. So it's really powerful once we're able to identify, have the awareness, celebrate, and then have a list of different tools to be able to use in any situation. The inner wisdom tool is a really powerful one when we want guidance, when we're like, what is our next step? So in this, you tap into your sacred wisdom to guide you in your next right steps towards your vision and your desires. And this is when we get to be unfuckable with, because it's like, you know what? No one knows us better than ourselves. So it's a simple tool to be able to access that part of us that knows and be able to guide us in a very powerful way that's aligned with what it is that we want. And then one of our favorites is the pleasure tripping tool. And this is when you want to get into the vortex of your desires. It's about taking action from this space, collapsing time, and just being, like Abraham Hicks says, in that vortex and being able to be in that alignment and being delusional about what's possible. And then from that place, take the action instead of taking action based on fear or doubt. So those are the tools. And basically, you're able to reconnect to your purpose. You're able to reclaim your pleasure and rediscover your possibilities. So you are truly intentional creator of your reality. So let me know if that resonates and if that makes sense and if you got any questions around that. But that is the tools. That is the framework that we use. I'm going to go back here. Here we go. So once you have the awareness of, oh my gosh, I'm triggered, or I'm feeling this way, or you know what, I'm feeling scarcity, right? Or I'm feeling fear, or I'm feeling resentment. Whenever you're feeling something you don't want to feel, you have the awareness, you celebrate the fuck out of it, and you use one of the 8 emotional mastery tools or any emotional mastery tools that you have on hand. And if those are working, that's amazing. Just use this framework and find tools and create tools, or if you want tools, like this is what we do in the programs and containers that I run, is you will learn these tools and you will use them over and over and over again. And as you continue to use them over and over, as you do the hot seat coaching sessions with me and you start embodying these, it's fucking amazing. My clients are like, oh my gosh, I just used a pleasure tripping tool and now I'm completely I have a complete shift. I was able to use a butterfly tool, and I realized that back then this thing happened and it's impacting this. So now that I've healed it, now I'm stepping into a different possibility. It is incredible because the power of this is as you learn it, as you're in that space to get, in the mastermind, there's hot seat coaching, there's custom EA flow. So my clients in the EA program will say, oh my gosh, I'm triggered by this. I'm triggered my kids did this. I'm triggered my husband did this. One of our clients there, her husband had an affair a year ago, and it was with somebody that they know, a mutual friend. And she's like, oh my gosh, you know what? She's coming out to this party. Can you do an EA flow around that? And then I will go ahead and do custom EA flows for everyone in the mastermind. So then they're able to get this custom guidance within minutes using one of the EA tools to help them process through things. And I feel like in all the programs that I've been in, that custom support is everything. The custom support is what takes it to the next level, because everyone has different variations of things. And I know for me, when I'm in containers, I need the custom support because I know that my situations, what I've gone through in my life is very different than others. So having that custom support is everything. And imagine the next time you're triggered. What would that be worth if you're able to have somebody help you work through that within minutes, to be able to give you this guidance, to be able to give you a flow that you can use anytime you experience it, that and again. So for me, in my human design, I'm a 5/1. My incarnation cross, I'm here to revolutionize things. I'm here to try things on, go through a path of struggle, really fucking annoying. But through this struggle, I'm able to find different ways to do things in the quickest possible way. I'm a manifesting generator as well. So then from that space, I embody it. I create a new process, and then I'm able to lead other people through it. So they're able to get the results that I have on their own terms in a fraction of the time. So it has been amazing. And this framework, I have clients that have worked with me years ago, and they're still using the tools on a regular basis. And that is what I define as success, because so many times I've been in so many programs. After the program's done, I forget about it. It's like I don't use it anymore. I wanted to create a process and a framework that, number one, the mastermind, I never want anyone to leave. So I want to provide so much value in it, and also have it be very simple so it doesn't feel overwhelming. And number two, I want to make sure that the tools that they use, they can use forever for the rest of their life. And I created what it is that I wanted, and sometimes that is our path. Okay, so here's the thing. It's simple, but it's not easy at first. It's simple, but it's not easy. Right? The framework is simple. Awareness, celebrate, emotional mastery tool. There's 8 different tools in the program. If you have your own tools, amazing. And it's simple, but it's not easy because we have our past patterns. We've been doing the same shit for as long as we were born. So a lot of the times we want results right away. And I will be the first one to tell you that you will see results here and there, but the change doesn't happen until we start changing who we are. Until we start doing that work, and then over time it gets better. My client Tracy, it's been a year since the infidelity, and now her marriage is better than ever, right? And she does the work. She comes to the call. She gets the hot seat coaching. She asks the questions. She shares the celebrations. She goes over and beyond. And as a result, she's created a marriage that she never knew was possible. She thought she'd have to leave her marriage to have what she has now. Right? It's not simple, but it's easy at first. And now, because I've been using the tools for years, it's like I don't even need to work through it. It's just like, boom, the insight's there. Now, my automatic subconscious doesn't go to the worst case scenario like before and goes to the victim and the blame. It goes straight to, okay, what tool are we going to use? And it's amazing. And it's incredible. I'm a researcher. I fucking love research. Science is now showing that, they first thought that up until the age of maybe 7, anywhere between 6 and 8, like we stop learning, brain stops growing, and our neuroplasticity just kind of stops, and we can't rewire. They prove that is wrong. We can rewire anytime. So using these tools, using a toolkit, having a framework, having a method, and continuing to do it and use it and use it and use it like riding a bike, you will start changing your brainwaves, your activation, so then it will actually change how you show up. You can reprogram your subconscious, which is incredible because our subconscious runs the show. So how amazing is that? In 3 months, in 6 months, you can start changing your subconscious. So instead of doing those toxic patterns of the past to get what you want, you're able to do things to get what you do want, and it starts becoming automatic. Okay, let's see. So I want to share with you a quick story about Roxy for the work that we do. I don't share a lot of the results because they're very personal. So I did ask her for permission. I am changing the name. She's on brink of divorce. About a year ago, actually, she found a suspicious text on her husband's phone from a woman she knew. And I remember she posted in the group and she's just like, oh my God. And she was already contemplating divorce. So she was using the EA program to help her navigate how to go through divorce and how to take those next steps. So immediately she's like, well, this is the proof that I needed. I'm out. And as she started using the EA method, the framework, and going through it, she was able to have those conversations. She was able to create a level of safety and intimacy. They're able to finally have those conversations they've never had. She said their intimacy was maybe one time a year in the past. It was like never there, maybe like on like a special occasion on their anniversary. Their physical connection, their intimacy was non-existent. They're already living separate lives or together because of their daughter. And then now a year later, she says the affair was a blessing. And I was blown away. And Roxy has done the work. She's used the tools. She's shown up. She's come to the call. She's asked the questions. She shared her celebrations. She shared her triggers so I can help her and support her in creating the EA flows. She has been a commitment to being the leader of their marriage. And her husband just told her that last week or the week before that their marriage is hotter and better than ever after 25 years. And she still sees this mutual friend and they have connections together and she's able to lead herself in such a different way. She feels magnetic as fuck. My client feels confident. She's in her power. She's able to share and they're able to have this intimacy physically in the bedroom is hotter than ever. And outside of the bedroom, their communication, how they're sharing about things, how they're doing things together, how they're raising their children, how they're getting more in alignment with their values and their desires. And she never thought that this one for her husband to say it after 25 years, there's proof in that. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to be looking at that for a minute, in a minute. And I would love to share with you if that's okay. If you want additional support, the program that I have going on right now. So if you're okay with that, I would love to just share that with you. If you have any questions about it, you can let me know. But let me know if that's okay. So go ahead and say yes if you want. If I can spend a couple minutes sharing about that. If you want to know about the EA Mastermind, you can definitely send me a DM and we can see if that's a good fit. We may go through a diagnostic to see if that would support you. That right now is $5,000. This other program is a smaller container and it's basically the first step. If you do want to join the mastermind, you get the Rebirth program as a bonus, which is really amazing. And the Rebirth program is now $800 and the price will be going up tomorrow to $1,500. So I take a moment and share with you the Rebirth program. So basically, what I've done is I will be completely honest with you. I know that in a lot of the for myself, when I've worked with different coaches, I thought that I would get things that I didn't. I made investments up to $25,000 for different programs, different one-on-one coaching. It wasn't what I wanted. So instead, what I want to do, there's somebody at the door, so my dog may bark. What I'm doing instead is creating smaller programs. So to be able to create foundational work so you can start doing this work, so you can get this support, so you can get transformations. And then if you want to go deeper, then what I'm doing from now on, I'm creating a business in a completely new and very, and in a way that feels really good. So if you are like, you know what, I want to join the Rebirth program. And then after you go through it, you're like, oh my gosh, I want even more support. I love this work and it's really powerful. Then you can use that credit towards the EA Mastermind at whatever cost it is. I want to make it so easy. I want to have different price points that feel affordable. No one feels like they're stretching or it's an investment. And then there's all this scarcity and this pressure on that it has to work. Because I felt that a lot of times in my business, as I've been building my coaching business, and I never want anyone else to feel that way. So Rebirth is my newest program that will walk you through the steps on creating the marriage you want without having to wait, guilt, or manipulate your man to change. And so this is for you if you want to do the work required to get what you want. If you are tired of therapy, reading the books and not getting results. If you are in a safe space, if you want a safe space where you can share it all and receive support without judgment, because you don't want the people who know your partner to judge you or your partner. And this has been one of the most epic things in the EA program. In the master my clients love being able to be so uncensored, to talk about their partner, their family, their parents, their kids, any of the things that come up, and not feel judged and get support around it. So they're not just bitching to their friends about it. They're able to be heard, be supported, and be able to work through it and have like effective ways to actually work through this. This is for you if you know you deeply want the passion, intimacy, and connection that you had in the beginning, and you're ready and excited to do the fucking work. So in this, we're going to be using multiple EA tools. There's going to be every session is going to be a live workshop where we're going to be doing this work together, right? It's not just me like doing a live stream and just talking at you and telling you all these things. And then if you feel really good and then you walk away going, wait, what the fuck do I do now? It's going to be interactive workshop where we are going to be building these things together, where you're going to be asking me questions. If you're not able to attend live, there will be a Q&A where you can ask all these questions, and then I will come at the end of the program and answer all of the questions. So you make sure that you walk away and you feel good and confident about every single step that we're doing together. You get lifetime access to it. In the workshop, you're going to meet the one. There's going to be a guided activation to connect you to the version of you that is the one, that is rebirth into the woman that you want to create the you want. We're going to create a manifesto with you that is larger than life, that acts incredible. And my clients love it when I go through them with this, because we're able to really elicit those things. And what I love doing is sharing my manifesto, which really engages and gets my clients excited because it gets them to step into a bigger possibility. An amazing success that I want to share for my clients is, so many of them are like, oh, I need to redo my manifesto because I've already achieved it. So now they get to like do it even more. You get lifetime access to this. So as soon as you want to reinvest, like do it again, you can go ahead and do it again. We're also going to go into the hidden saboteurs, right? The aftermath of like our past relationships, the aftermath of the conditioning and the old beliefs. And we're going to really go through and use the fair release tool, saboteurs, and pattern intercepts to see what is going on, so we can really, a lot of those things are coming up that is preventing you, and creating those toxic patterns within us that show up. Because what I know for sure is, as women, we are so fucking magnetic. We are the leaders in the relationship. So when I started changing, my husband, I didn't have to wait for him or ask him or manipulate him or shame him or blame him to change. He started changing because I changed. Instead of reacting in Ronnie's old pattern, I started reacting differently. Instead of reacting, I responding differently, from a place of desire, from a place of grace, from a place of emotional mastery. And guess what? He I've noticed, it's very interesting. In my lineage, I've had a foreclosure. My brother had a foreclosure. My parents, five, five or six. My grandfather had a foreclosure. His parents, like, well, the land was taken away from him. His his parents did. So as we go through this, and science is actually showing that there's ancestral things that happen that are passed down until we clear it. So we're going to be doing clearing around that, especially when it comes to relationships and love. So then we're able to really be able to take all of that stuff, all of the pain, the trauma, and alchemize it and turn it into magic and power. So that is what we're going to be doing. If this is for you, I would be honored to be your guide in this journey. Hold on, let me take a quick sip. The investment for this program is $1,500, and it is on sale for $800 for a limited time. If you want a payment plan, you can definitely send me a DM for that. And again, if you are like, oh my gosh, no, I want the whole thing. Like, I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to go all in. I want to join the mastermind. You get Rebirth for free. And as a bonus for the Rebirth program, which I just spoke about, which is $800, you get access to a private community for 3 months after the program ends for accountability, monthly Q&As to ensure that you have the support and implement the tools for the program. So that is what I wanted to share. I think that's someone is joining in right now, but you're done. So let me know. I'm just gonna stop the share right now. I'm gonna go through all of these things. So if you have any questions for me about anything, you can go ahead and ask it. We have about 12 minutes together, so I'm gonna read through the comments. There will be a replay. I do have a Facebook group open for this, and complete transparency. I'm going to be running this masterclass for as many times as I feel where I'm like, I landed it. This is great. This is perfect. And then it's going to be a low cost program in the future. That's going to be an immediate recording. So I feel like this is a lot better than the first version that I did. So I will keep this up until and if I record another version of this. And then it's just going to be a very low cost program for people who want to taste me, who want to feel the experience, who want to know more, to be able to access and enter my world at a very low cost so then they can qualify themselves to see if this is something for them. Okay, so I'm going to look through all of this. Yes, Mohini says, I'm a timeline girl, now liberated queen. I love that so much. Amen. Same, it's been 6 years for me. Got it. Totally. Kelly says things have been difficult in the last couple of years or so. I totally get it. And it can be changed. It can be changed. I think for me, like one block that I realized that I was having, I don't like calling it a block. One opportunity is I started seeing for myself where it was like, I was justifying why I wasn't able to have what it is that I want. And so for me, I'm really focusing in on my business right now. So there's a lot of self-talk to be like, okay, well, I can't have it because of this. I can't have it because of this. I started realizing that I was justifying when things weren't good in my marriage. It's like, okay, well, maybe we're going through a season. Maybe, it's just a hard time, right? But there is a way through it. And what I also say, like the whole thing is I don't like calling myself a relationship coach and I don't guarantee the $1 million marriage. I know that it's possible. And what I know for sure is who you become as a result of the work that we do together. If you go all in, if you show up to the calls, if you ask the questions, if you do the hot seat coaching in the mastermind, if you do all of the work, you change who you become. And what happens as a result is that person that you're with will either meet you or fall away. And if they fall away, somebody will come in this place at your level. So that's what happened for me. So many times I was told I was damaged goods, that nobody would want me, nobody would want my daughter. And now, as my daughter is going away to college and getting her apartment, my husband, her stepfather, was the one that put his name on the application, co-signed for her. My ex didn't do that. And not only is he helping contribute to her apartment, my husband Michael was like, you know what? I think we should contribute more because we don't want Devani to ever feel like she has to struggle. It is absolutely amazing. I never knew that this type of love from a stepfather was possible, right? It's just absolutely amazing. So we can have it all when we detach from how and who and when, and we just focus on ourselves and doing our own work. It's incredible what happens. I want to share that using this method, I've used this method on my body and it's incredible. Like I'm the lowest weight that I've ever been, but my weight was never a goal of mine. It was just, I want to get healthy. I want to have energy. I want I want to focus in on, I'm nervous about getting bigger and like, and my skin stretching out and all this stuff. I'm 45, right? And as a result, when I weighed myself the other day, I'm like, holy shit, this is incredible. So what I love about this method is it works in relationships. It works in relationship with our kids, with our parents, with our body, because we are not doing work on your marriage. We're doing work on yourself. And as we change ourselves, our relationship to everything in our life changes, and we just get to have different focuses. So in the mastermind, every month, the first Thursday of the month, you set your intention. We do a hot seat coaching on what intention is. We create a practical plan for you that's customized, and we go through any roadblocks that you have, and we create solutions for that so you don't run into that problem. And then every Thursday, 3 Thursdays out of the month, we do hot seat coaching. All my clients are in the group sharing their celebrations or triggers, anything that comes up. And then we have a Telegram access where I will do riffs on my daily life, my expansions in my marriage and my life, so they get a backseat view and they're able to calibrate to the things that I'm working on now, as well as when they're like, Johnny, my parents are triggering the fuck out of me. My kid did this. My relationship did this. I'm going to an event, and the woman will be there, and so I'm able to do custom EA flows for them to use over and over and over again. So they're like, I just listen to the Telegram riffs whenever I need it. My clients will listen to the replays of the calls that we do together. And it's like, I'm pouring everything into this because I want this container to be so powerful, so potent, so simple, to help women create exactly what it is that they want. I've spent over $400,000 of my own money, the money that I've made in my business, I've reinvested to working with coaches, doing certifications, all of these different programs, so then I could extract the best part of it, embody it, create something new, and now from this place share it with you. Okay, so Savvy says, I was the only one that was married. Well, then my brother got married, and now they're scared of getting divorced. Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of times the fear, if we have stigma around it, right? Or especially if we're like, oh my God, we can't be the ones that got divorced, or what people will say, it can creating what it is that we want. And then, we feel stuck. And even in moments in my marriage when I felt stuck or when I felt trapped, I share with my clients where there was years ago where I had a connection with another man, and it was fucking terrifying. And I used the EA method. I worked through it. I had a beautiful conversation with my husband, and we saw what was there. It helped our marriage in incredible ways, right? So it doesn't mean that my marriage is perfect. It's not, but it is. The whole tagline for me, the $1,000,000 marriage. And I was in our hot tub a couple months ago, just sitting in there, brought me lemon water from the tree. And then he brought me a latte, 10 minutes later, and he gives me a kiss. And I'm like, holy fuck, I have a $1,000,000 marriage. I would pay $1,000,000 for this marriage. And that's when, oh gosh, I want to teach women how to do this, because we don't need to wait on our man. We don't need to spend years doing this. We get to change who we are. And as a result, everything changes around us. It is the most powerful thing we can do. And it's so fucking liberating that we don't need to wait on our partner to get what we want. It's everything. So I want this in the hands of so many women because it's our time. Let's see. Marriage is hard. If they wanted to, they would just try harder. Yeah, exactly, Kelly. Marriage is hard. We hear that all the time. You got to try harder. All of these things that are said. It's like, you know what? Is that the ultimate truth? And have we taken on? How much of that are we believing? Right? And now it's like, I used to wait for the weekend or wait for vacations, wait for different things. Now I'm enjoying every single day. And I see that as a beautiful gift. And I'm like, holy fuck, this is an incredible life. And I never thought that I could feel this way, especially growing up and seeing all the pain and the suffering my parents had. I didn't think this was possible for me. But again, I wasn't, when I started this journey, my journey wasn't, I want $1,000,000 marriage. It wasn't even that. It was just like, I just want a marriage that feels safe and healthy. So all I wanted. And as I continue to focus in on myself, what can I do? How can I lead myself? What is going on? Okay, I'm triggered. Okay, let me do the work. Oh my gosh, I'm pissed that he's not doing the work. Okay, that's triggering me. Let me work through all of these things and leading myself in the in the interim, as a result, I created the $1 million marriage. It was never my goal. But am I so excited I created it? Fuck yes. Kobe Bryant says something like that too. In one of his interviews, he said, it's about the commitment to ourselves. And then it's just like our life is extraordinary as a result. What we get is extraordinary as a result. So for me, I'm not a relationship coach. I am a self-mastery mentor. We are going together, do the work to create the self-mastery so you get what you want. So you become worthy of everything that you want. So you heal all of those things that are holding you back. That is the weight of like a helium balloon. Like if we are like the helium balloon and we want to be limitless and we want to have it all, and we want this freedom and all these things, but we have these weights holding us down. We get to work through those weights the quickest way possible. So we just get to rise. We just get to be who we were meant to be, the most healed, self-expressed, evolved, magnetic version of ourselves. But things have happened in our childhood and our past and our current. Things are happening that is weighing us down and dimming our light and dimming our magnetism. But the thing is we can take our power back. And this is the simplest, most effective way that I've done it. I have a certification program. I have coaches that are certified. They had to do 100 sessions. So we have hundreds of testimonials of this work. And it's like nothing else that my clients or myself has experienced. And as I continue to do the work, I refine the tools, make it the most powerful thing, because my commitment is I want people to stay in the mastermind forever. So again, sometimes we need to move to heal. Absolutely. It's always us. Yes, yes, yes. It starts with us. Always, always. We are the problem and we are the solution. It's fucking incredible. Patterns, manipulation by people pleasing, not expressing my needs. So many things, right? Oh my gosh, it's easier to do this. You know what? Let me go ahead and do this to please them. And hopefully then they'll appreciate me. And that was me all the time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the martyr. I'm going to do everything for everyone else. But then I need to get validated. Okay, I'm empty. They don't appreciate me. What's going on? And then breeds resentment. And then I'm doing people pleasing and I'm serving everyone else from this place of resentment. And then when I was so empty on my fumes, I would react like a fucking crazy person. And then I would have regret and shame afterwards. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to blow up on my kids. I didn't want to blow up on my husband. I didn't want to do that. But then I still didn't feel, I had to go apologize. But I never got that thing that I needed taken care of. So it's this constant thing where it was just with so much pressure that I would explode, but I never emptied. And then it would happen again and again and again. And that builds more disconnection from me and everyone else. Let's see. Mohini, him relaxed. Me, I am relaxed. Love that. Love that. You're like, I am relaxed. I am good. So those things. And so for some people, they're like, oh yeah, chill. It's not a big deal. But what is that thing that triggers you? And how are you responding to it? Right. And so it's just so beautiful for us to start seeing that, and taking that responsibility is so fucking sexy and powerful. And we really take our power back and we can revolutionize like any part of our life in doing that. Okay. Let's see. Emotionally wounded Pisces here. Oh my gosh. I got you. I get that. I get that. I get that. Yes. Thank you. Amazing. Sounds awesome. Gotta go. We'll DM later. Awesome. Alice already signed up. I'm excited. We start next week, Alice. It's going to be fucking incredible. Okay. So if you have any questions about anything, let me know. On a scale of 1 to 10, let me know how this was for you. If you have any questions, I would love to support you. I'm going to start doing more training, for mini training, because here's the thing, in the coaching industry, I've realized that I made a lot of investments from a place of shiny object or FOMO. And I don't want my clients to ever experience that. I want my clients to really self-qualify and be like, fuck yes, I want her energy. I'm ready to do the work. I want the radical responsibility. I want someone to call me out with love. I love and I resonate with this vibe. And so in this space, I'm going to start delivering different trainings. I'm going to do more vulnerable experiences. I'm doing 30 days live on Facebook on my public profile, which is fucking terrifying. But I know that I'm here to share with the world. I know that I'm here to impact millions of women, and I'm here to make millions of dollars doing it, multi-millions of dollars of doing it. And I've taken some time, some space to work on my marriage, to work on my relationship with my kids, my body. And now I'm fully into my business. I'm doing this work. I'm committing to this. And so as a result, I'm going to be sharing more of my journey. I'm going to be sharing so much more of my own coaching that I'm doing with my clients and sharing insights with that. So if we're getting value from the free content, I love it. And when you're ready, you're like, you know what? I'm ready for this. I'm going to have a Love Rewire program, which is going to be, less than $200. So I'm creating different price points and different containers and different access levels to me so then everybody can get what they need and be comfortable where they're at. 10, oh, I love that. I'm so glad, Kelly. Did you tell your husband about what triggered you? Do I tell, this is, this is so great. I don't know. Did you did you listen to the podcast episode that I shared about how I caught him masturbating? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I've got a podcast, The Wildly Unapologetic Entrepreneur. And I think in one of the emails, if you're on the email list, I sent it out at some point, but it's on, all the podcast ones. So my quick answer to that is it depends. And sometimes I'll use I got the email. Okay, cool. So it all depends because sometimes if I don't know, I will literally use another EA tool, the inner wisdom tool to ask if I need to or not. A lot of the times I don't need to because it has nothing to do with him. But it's some of the situations where we've had, my clients know that we've had like some little situations here and there recently. And in those places, when I do get triggered and something happened where I didn't feel safe when it came to our finances, when I found something out, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was about to go back into my past patterns and be like, oh my gosh, this is like nerve-wracking. And it reminded me of things that was happening in my parents' marriage. And there's a lot of issues around scarcity and money and deceit and lies. It was very different to that, but it had that same type of energy. So I literally used my tools. I used a fear release tool, first of all, to get through all of the emotions that I was having. I used a butterfly tool after that to start healing those paths because it was so triggering to me. It wasn't just him. And then from that space, I didn't really even use the inner wisdom tool, but I got really clear and I got the guidance of the type of conversation I wanted to have with him. So when we had that conversation, it was incredible. And I was able to use another program that's coming up is Win-Win Method. I used a framework to have the conversation with him and it went fucking incredible. And as a result, we were able to have a bigger conversation around it. I'm a big avoider. I was a big avoider when it came to money and finances. And so it was a beautiful wake up call. So as in hindsight, my husband and I said that, you know what, that was a beautiful situation to happen because it forced us to have these conversations that were uncomfortable and we're able to get on the same page as a result. So I feel like when it is about him or if it's going to impact our future or if it's going to, if we need closure on something, I will talk to him about it. And a lot of the times I don't. And it was very hard because he is a Virgo. I don't know if Virgo has, I think it may be a Virgo characteristic where whenever we fought, he wanted to get closure right away. And it was like horrible because I'm like, no, I'm going to go into Scorpio. I'm going to say the most disgusting, ugly, vile things. And now because we understand each other, we know how to communicate. He knows when I need time. I know, when he needs more of that communication. We've been able to mold really well and fit. And when we do have conversations, I framework so that I'm able to have a conversation without the defensiveness coming up or saying, you made me feel this way. You make me feel unsafe. It was like, hey, here's what's going on. And as a result, it turns into a positive outcome and a productive conversation instead of just, you know, like verbally vomiting and like having diarrhea all over him like I did before. And then it would just create even more fucking problems and more disconnection. And a lot of the times I would just say things to hurt him. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know. And if you have any other questions, let me know. If you're watching on, if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to DM me and ask me about the program that's the mastermind or rebirth or the Love Rewire program that's coming up, let me know. I hope that this served you. I'm so honored to be here and share with you. You have the framework now, so you can use it. If you have emotional mastery tools, use it. Use a framework. It's simple. It's easy. It doesn't have to be difficult. And I heard this from, who was it? It's like an Elon Musk or something. I'm a researcher. I'm a 5-1, so I love research. So it's great because I'm always learning and developing, and then I embody and I share it with my mastermind. And I heard something that was so powerful. That was like, it is the hardest thing is to keep things simple. The hardest thing is to keep things simple. There's so many things that we can do. And I've seen in the coaching industry where a lot of coaches are like, oh my gosh, you get programs, you get access to all of my programs and my whole library of things. And I'm like, I don't fucking want that. I don't want to have to feel like I've got to go through all of these different things. I want the cream of the crop, the golden nuggets. I just want the best possible thing in the smallest, simplest way so I can embody it. And so that's why I created this, because it didn't exist for me and it still doesn't exist. So my clients, one of the best compliments I got was one of my clients who I worked with over a year ago commented on one of the posts I did about the EA method. And she's like, I'm teaching it to the kids. And I asked her if she still uses it regularly, and she says yes. And that was like over a year ago we worked together. And that proof is my own confirmation on how powerful this is, because so many coaches have programs where a year later you don't even remember what you've learned. But my commitment is, if you do this work, if you join the mastermind, if you learn these tools and embody them, you will be able to use them for the rest of your life. And now I have the honor to be able to teach this to my daughters. So it is amazing. I wish I had this growing up. And instead of being resentful about that, I am so blessed that I'm able to go through the struggles, go through the hardships, figure all of this out, and now be able to share it with the world. So I love you so much. I hope that this serves you. I wish you so much love. I wish that you really have shifted your paradigm, opened up, even if it's like 1 degree on what's possible for you in what it is that you can have. Because when we're in the intentional creators of our reality, we're magnetic as fuck, and we're always manifesting, always. Whether we want to or not, we're either manifesting our desires or we're manifesting our past patterns or wounds. And when we start manifesting our desires, that's when the effortless comes in. That's when we start quantum leaping. That is when that happens. So I love you so much. I will see you soon. If you have any questions, read so